I'd like to say a few words about the People's Campaign, what it is, what we can do with it, and what its strengths are. The People's Campaign is kind of like the Occupy movement. It's not about one specific thing. Now, one of the things I'm using it to promote is that we still can elect Bernie Sanders as president. I just talked to a couple of Trump supporters a little while ago and told them we can still elect Bernie, and they said, well, we're Trump supporters. And I pointed out to them, well, you know, even Trump supporters should be telling people that we can still elect Bernie, because it isn't really about who wins the presidency. It's about how we win. It's about whether or not the people win. And if we the people just do what they tell us to, how do we win that way? If we just accept that they tell us we can't win, well, then we can't. But the People's Campaign doesn't need financing. It doesn't need donations. It needs people. People talking to other people. People spreading the word about the things they care about. The things that they would like to see accomplished. The things that we, the people, care to campaign about. Now, Bernie Sanders tried to tell us in a whole lot of different ways, a whole lot of different times, that it was never about him. It was always about us. Now, do I think he would still be the best choice we've got for president? Yes. And his campaign is only suspended. But even if he flat out quit, even if he completely quit his campaign, he's still registered as a presidential candidate. We, the people, still have choices. We still have the option to go ahead and at least give it our best shot. To say, no, we're not going to give up just because you tell us we can't win, because that's how we make it so we can't win, by giving up. That's the one way that those in power over us, those who oppress us, continue to win over and over and over, by convincing us that we can't win, that we can't get anything more than they let us have, that we can't do anything more than they let us do. And yeah, they're very powerful and they've got a lot of money behind them. And Bernie said this was going to be difficult. And obviously, it was a risky position he put himself in. And I don't hold it against him that he decided to suspend his campaign and endorse his competition, because that is the safe thing to do. But I'm not in that much of a position to be a target, so I can be out here campaigning. I'm not running for president. They're not going to pay much attention to me. I doubt many people will. But if somebody else hears what I have to say, and they decide they can do that too, well, then I've increased the numbers. And if they do the same thing and they manage to get someone else to join us, well, then they've increased the numbers as well. This is about the people learning how to win, how to govern ourselves, how to make our own rules, and to make those rules official in some sense, so that we can have a functioning society and not just chaos, but a functioning society that we, the people, keep control of, that we don't just hand the control over to someone else. Consider all of the countries in the past that have had dictators that decided to call their campaign socialist or communist. Those things are not synonymous with dictatorships, but they sort of made them synonymous with dictatorship by being a dictator and using those names and fooling a whole lot of people into thinking that, what they were doing and what they were saying they were doing were the same thing. Well, they weren't. Never were. Never will be. So support the People's Campaign. Do your own campaigning. And while you're out doing your own campaigning, ask other people to support the People's Campaign as well. You don't have to agree with me on what to campaign for. I've got a whole bunch of things I'm campaigning for. This is just one. So campaign for the things that you care about. If you happen to agree with me, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Because democracy isn't about you beating me or me beating you. It's about everybody being heard and the best decisions we can collectively make being made. That's not what's been happening. So what we have isn't really democracy. We need, for one, we need the right to vote against someone in an election, so that they can't give us this lesser of two evils choice and say, well, you have to vote for one or the other, because otherwise the other of the one or the other will win. Well, so what? We can do better than that. Why not vote for someone you actually want? Well, because you're told the one you actually want can't win. Well, then why not vote against someone that you want to keep from winning? Because they won't let us. And there's another thing to campaign for. So go to BernieSanders.com/issues. Look up some of the issues Bernie's been supporting. Do some campaigning for those things. While you're at it, if you too believe that we can still elect Bernie Sanders as president, say so. Maybe, just maybe, word will get around. Enough people will do our own campaigning, and we might be able to get him to unsuspend his campaign. There is still time for him to win the primaries, and the general election hasn't even started. Thanks for your time.